Welcome back to MCU Mondays on Geek News Now, where today we're talking about the previous episode of Loki, episode 2. Very excited to talk about that and talk about what might be happening in episode 3. Episode 1 was a lot of fun. A lip-smacking good time. And it's great to see Loki come back. We always have fun.
I have been falling for 30 minutes.
That's my favorite one.
It's fun to watch him. Owen Wilson's been a blast. Before we get into that, though, we were going to talk a little bit about the Spider-Man trailer that still hasn't come out. And, basically, people are losing their minds. To put it quite simply, I see stuff every day. Fake trailers, concept trailers, memes about the trailer not coming out. I mean, and every day it's like, it's confirmed it's coming out next week. It's like Mephisto at this point. Like, well, where's that Spider-Man trailer?
Well, it'll come out next week in the new Loki, or day after tomorrow, I should say, with the new Loki episode. It'll be the end, and Mephisto will be revealed, and we'll get Finn involved somehow, and just the whole ball of wax right there.
It was Agatha.
It was all along.
Oh, man. And Deadpool's going to be in it, and the X-Men are going to be in it. X-Men confirmed. And, yeah.
Fantastic Four, Reed Richards.
Stan Lee is in it. It's his final cameo. All of this will be coming out. You can't trust anything these days. Like, I'll see it. I'll believe it when I see it. And even then, I'm probably 30 seconds into it, I'm going to be like, is this really just a really good fan-made trailer?
That happened to me with the Eternals. When the Eternals trailer dropped, I was watching it going, did they just piece something together? I'm not really sure. I'm just...
Is this stuff for movies I haven't seen? It's possible. There are movies I haven't seen. Somebody made a Kenobi trailer that I thought was real, too. Yeah, so it happens. People got skills. But for now, we got no Spider-Man trailer. Still looking forward to that. Hopefully we'll see it next week, but who's to say? There's been no confirmation on that for sure. But while we wait, we get to enjoy Loki. So let's get right into it. Loki, at the end of episode 1, is at the Time Variance Authority. Start of episode 2, there's a Renaissance fair, and we've got they're hunting down the evil Loki, because they even said at the end of episode 1 that the person they're hunting is a Loki, a variant of Loki. And so we've got the Time Variance Authority. They go to a Renaissance fair. It's the 1980s, but everything looks all medieval because it's a Renaissance fair. And we had this character, briefly.
That's Agatha.
Yeah,
there we go. Yeah.
That's what
it didn't take anyone any time to start saying, there's Agatha. Excuse me. Yeah, so this is just some chick at a Renaissance fair, but she does notice them. None of the other people at the Renaissance fair notice them, or later when the Mobius and Loki come to investigate with their time variance. Nobody calls them out or anything like that. So why can that person see them, or why does that person? Agatha, Mephisto confirmed. Let's not go nuts, but people actually sent me that photo before I'd even seen the episode, and they were like, Agatha, and I was like, I don't know. Then I watched the episode. I was like, she was in it for a second. People, she's probably get the math over nothing. Like, you gotta wait for it. Like,
she's gonna turn into a stork later on.
Now, I mean, if she had turned into a stork, then maybe I would have said, okay. But as it was, look, I mean, Marvel must be being giddy over this kind of thing now. It's like, all you have to do is cast someone similar looking, get their stunt double, throw him in, and people are just going to be losing it.
That right there, that was the comic playoff because God help me, her one line was amazing. You know, this means something to some of us, and I'm looking at it going, nerd.
Or like some of us need this. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is funny. But also, yeah, the first thing people were just like, Agatha, I'm just like, I don't know if we can say that with any certainty or why you would say that with certainty other than that looks kind of like her. And she's at a Renaissance festival. But I don't know. I figure if you actually lived through those times, you'd be happy enough to get out of them. But they pooped in holes in the ground. Indoor plumbing. It's going to be big.
Are you talking about the Renaissance or the 80s?
I like the 80s.
Good one.
Just seeing if you're paying attention.
Good one. But anyway, the Renaissance Festival, you know, from there, we got the troopers looking. They enter some sort of event that's supposed to be some sort of battle. And then they start fighting with the enemy Loki. And we get a scene. I don't know if you can see it there, but that's when the lady in charge has the side of her head touched in a move that's almost exactly like what the Scarlet Witch does when she is fighting the Avengers in Age of Ultron. And then
a lot of speculation that she's Enchantress and not Loki, Lady Loki. I mean, I could see maybe a combo of the two characters, but
well, they did the same thing Iron Man 2 with Whiplash and oh gosh, who was the other one?
Sam Rockwell, Hammer.
No. Whiplash. The Whiplash character from Iron Man 2 was an amalgamation of. Oh, that's gonna drive me nuts. I'll find it.
Okay. Looking up what amalgamation means, and
yeah, I'm not that smart.
it's
a
like
combination.
Smush them together.
It's like you mix them and.
Yeah. So we're still not clear. At this point, we're assuming it's Loki, but we've never seen Loki pull that move before. He's never like
that's not
mind controlled people with the staff, but never like that with how she does it. And later in the episode, it almost seems like she's possessing the body, and it almost seems like she's body switching. But we'll get to that later in the episode. In this, she just pretty handily defeats the guards and takes one of them away, or this variant of Loki, which at this point we don't know is a lady, but it is. It's Lady Loki.
It was Crimson Dynamo, by the way. Crimson Dynamo.
So the Whiplash
and Crimson
Iron Man 2 is a combo of those two.
Right.
So it could be something like that.
At the very end. Yeah.
The MCU does, on occasion do that type of thing. Combine characters and properties, lesser known properties sometimes to. And Lady Loki's pretty recent, I think. Even as a character, I don't think she came around until like 70s or 80s. I could be wrong on that. Someone can correct me. Feel free. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it cross over with something else. Also, given that it's soon going to be a multiverse type thing, which I have some questions about. But we'll soon get to it, I guess, because then we go back to the TVA, where we go back and we get to see Miss Minutes again, which was great because I was afraid that Miss Minutes was going to be a one-time thing. But she came back. And so Loki's supposed to be like learning the rules of, and we talked about this last episode. I was like, it's a time travel show. At some point, they're going to like explain why you can't do something that you would obviously do with time travel. And when Mobius and Loki go to the Renaissance Fair to investigate, Loki goes, why couldn't we just travel back to when this happened? And he's like, well, that's like a fixed point, and you can't da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, blah, blah, blah. Like, we're just making this stuff up.
Blah, blah, blah. Hot tub time machine. Blah, blah, blah. Back to the future. Blah, blah, blah.
Here's something that you can't do. How come? Because that's the way it works. Duh. Are you recording or are you alive? Both.
Sort of.
Sorta. What a charming character. I hope that's not the last we've seen of that character too. But so we also, when they go back, Loki, he tries to mess with Mobius, essentially. They have a limited amount of time on that timeline before they have to reset it, and he kind of tries to play Mobius. And Mobius has to go back and report to, what's the judge's name?
Raven Slayer or something like that.
Something like Ravenslayer, Judge Ravenslayer. That's a cool name. And explain how things went wrong.
Renslayer.
Sorry.
So we see we learn some interesting things in that conversation. Some kind of, I think, big deal things. For instance, Owen Wilson's character Mobius has never met the Timekeepers. He's been working for them for all of his existence and everything, but it sounds like he's also kind of. What did you think of that conversation? I would say it sounds like I think he might be not too happy with the way things are going.
I looked at it as more he was kind of like if you were in a cop movie, he's like the semi-rogue cop who gets pulled into the chief's office every once in a while. I've had it with your maverick ways, you settle down and play by the book kind of thing. And he's a not by the book kind of timekeeper.
He's a bit of a rogue at times, I think.
But what does that mean? Well, okay, let's take that and then put this into it. Sometimes you get tired of playing the same part. How can you be a rogue if everything is created exactly according to the Timekeeper's wishes? They even said earlier, so do you determine the timeline? She's like, no, the Timekeepers do. Then what's your purpose? Like, I determine the flow of time as determined by the Timekeepers. And it's just like, you can't go. The whole point is that you can't veer off the path. But Mobius, and think of his name, Mobius Strip, that's like the inverted crazy. I'm thinking that they could be possibly setting him up to be something other than just loyal to the Time Variance Authority. I don't know what exactly, but if you take this scene later, and this is Loki talking, it's like, I've learned one thing that children never learned, and that's that no one bad is ever truly bad, and no one good is ever truly good. And they're looking right at him when they say that. So with that kind of stuff in mind, do you think Mobius is just kind of the rogue cop, but ultimately on the side of the Time Variance Authority? Because he also says stuff like that. They argue about their beliefs. Where do you think Mobius stands? Debbie, what do you think about?
I don't know. And the only reason I say he's rogue is because he's at this moment in time, he's doing things with Loki that, I mean, he really had to convince Renslayer to let him do, because evidently that's not something they do with the variants. So he's stepping outside the box. He's doing something that, they don't normally do. And maybe he's getting tired of playing the same old part, doing the same old thing time after time after time. And this is his way to kind of break that cycle.
He wants to step out of the box to break that. Yeah.
And I'm not quite sure if the TVA or the Timekeepers are actually good guys.
Well, who knows what's going to happen? We can't. Anyway, go ahead. What?
I was going to say, I think the Timekeepers, good or bad, is irrelevant with them. I think they're kind of like the Watchers. They're neither good nor bad. They're just kind of there to make sure everything happens the way it needs to happen. And whether it happens good or bad, that has nothing to do with them.
Yeah, it's about maintaining the sacred timeline. Actually, Mobius says that in the first thing. He's like, Loki accuses him. He's like, how come me meddling in the affairs of men like that was fine all these other times? And he's like, your idea of good and evil isn't exactly like that was fine because that was what was supposed to happen on the sacred timeline.
Well, the only The only reason I say or think that the TVA or the timekeepers are not what they seem to be is because Lady Loki seems to be only attacking the Minutemen, the TVA. And yeah, she's after the reset chargers, but there's a reason. I don't know if she's out for vengeance, if somebody, the TVA or the timekeepers did her wrong, but those are the only people she's attacking. And I don't know if she's really a variant because, shoot, I lost my train of thought. Because they don't say anything about her changing timelines or anything. The only thing they ever say is that she's attacking the Minutemen. She's wiping out our Minutemen. That's the only thing she does.
Well, until the end of this episode when she literally rips it open because she had to gather all the charges first.
Right.
But now she's done it. Now she's done it. Like the multiverse has been, as I saw it, I mean, I don't know how they're going to possibly stop that, but that was her goal, was to do that. They said they were chasing a variant Loki. So, and she is actually listed in one of the files as Laufey's daughter, as he's Laufey's son. I forget her, Sylvia. And that's also a name from the comics. But the way that she got her original female body was that she was Loki disembodied and then took over Lady Siv's body or something like that, and then became so it's not probably not that, but who knows, that might be in the timeline or whatever she came from. But that was also a question that I wondered about, if the Time Variance Authority has been stopping all these timelines or whatever from branching off the sacred timeline. How did you ever get such drastic alterations that apparently exist? Like, how did you ever get like crazy, weird looking, like, how was that ever something that branched off of this timeline that you've been maintaining? So something to me doesn't add up there either.
Yeah, something hinky is definitely going on. And I think, and I don't know if, Loki, he wants to take over as usual. He wants to take over the TV.
Oh, absolutely. Is this the greatest power? Then I want it. Okay.
I'm not quite sure that's her end game, though. And I'm not sure if she's really the villain. I think that's going to be a red herring. My theory.
Well, she did set off all those mines and start a multiverse type deal. So
they were all set, or at least the ones that I caught, they were all set at pivotal timelines or pivotal places in time.
Yeah, so there's multiple different places where the branches are forming. So the most likelihood of things spiraling out of control.
And they were, like Vormir and Sakaar. Those were two pivotal things that happened within the movies. And those are one of the two. I mean, there were others. I didn't write them all down, but those were the two that kind of stood out for me. Ego, the birth of Ego. That was another one. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, there's some theories out there. I have mine where, of course, going back to WandaVision.
Mephisto.
Well, not that. Somewhere in there. But she's weakened. Scarlet Witch has weakened the reality, right? And so with Lady Loki setting off these charges, reset charges at all these pivotal places in time, that's what's going to cause the multiverse and the multiversal wars that I think are going to be coming up.
But the question is why? Why are you trying to do that?
What's the end game? What's the
right?
What do you get out of it?
I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet, and we're only 2 episodes in. So
see, that's something that got me too. Is that we're only 2 episodes in, and that this is why I'm thinking that maybe you're right, Debbie, to where maybe Lady Loki isn't the big bad for this one, because we're 2 episodes in and you've revealed her already. Mm-hmm. So you're going to spend the next 4 chasing her, or is there going to be something else revealed? And we're going to have to team up with her to take down Mephisto or Nightmare or whoever.
End of the episode, Loki's already with her now. He's abandoned the TVA.
Yeah,
and he's going with her, which I think is great because it's like in his nature to be chaotic and mischievous and da-da. So at the beginning, we had him thinking he was just he has a Tesseract and da-da-da. Then he's like time variance authority, and that whips him for a new one. But then he's trying to play them at the beginning of this episode. And by the end of it, he's leaving them. Even though we see these moments of, I think, great character work, Tom Hiddleston, when he's like reading the files on Ragnarok, and they have those extreme close-ups, and you just see like the emotion behind Loki. Like he does care about Asgard and Thor, and this is still 2012 Loki, but he saw the stuff that was supposed to happen and the kind of person and that he has the capacity to possibly be, and he always cared about Thor, like deep down, and it's just in his nature to be mischievous. And once, when we were very young, he turned into a snake because he knows that I love snakes. So I went over to pick him up, and he bit me.
He goes, ha ha!
So Jimmy, one of our audience members, trying to flush out the timekeepers to try and off them. I don't know if she's going to try and off them. I think she needs something from the TVA, something there that she needs or wants.
Well, I mean, at this point, I mean, there's easier way for her to do that. First of all, she can possess people. So why, if she just wants something from the TVA, possess someone, go in, possess someone else, grab whatever you want, and then leave. The actions that she's taken have been for like a bigger purpose, which we see at the end when all the TVA starts losing their minds when all these different branches start forming. That one guy is like, we've got a code 000, which is okay. If that's like the worst thing that can happen probably. And while he's trying to describe it, the other guy just grabs the phone and goes, they bombed the sacred timeline. It's like, how do you even do that? Well, she just did it by taking those, and what do those things do again? It resets the time or whatever. And so where did you send them? To places like Vormir and to places like Sakaar and to places where some very important stuff was happening, like Debbie said. So that's going to create more timelines than they can correct. And as they explain it, within enough time, why don't you just go back to before? Well, because then the show wouldn't be possible. So we don't do that.
Because I need the show to happen.
Yeah, because then the writing for this would just be impossible. All right, just go with it. And we do, because it's fun. And part of the fun, we skipped over it because there's such big things that happen at the end that we missed some of the fun of the middle. Part of that fun was, let's see this. Yeah, I was thinking that that's the thing that Lokis do, suck up to someone in power to try and get power for themselves.
Could be Kang.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe it's her
Mephisto.
goal is to create multiple timelines and then rule over one of the timelines.
Yeah.
If you start this multiverse war, you get to rule over one of these whatevers.
Yeah, we won't see Kang. I mean, of course, we know he's going to be in Ant-Man 3. But I think all the movies that are coming out, they're all going to be connected. Of course, just like everything that led up to Endgame, all these series don't necessarily need to be watched to understand the movies, but just like the comics, they're tie-ins, you know. So
it's taking place in the shared universe, but you don't need to watch. You didn't need to have watched WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier to now be watching Loki.
Right.
Now, you should have watched probably some of the Thor movies, Endgame, if you want to know what the story was before this. But even in and of itself, they do a pretty good job explaining. The first episode is how he got where he is, and that's the first thing they spend time doing. And then it's kind of even new for him. So we're all being introduced to something new. But absolutely, but I think this one's going to have a bigger impact on that shared universe. You know, a bigger universal impact than some of the other things.
Yeah, I think even Kevin Feige, whatever his name is, the big dude at Marvel.
Kevin Feige. Yeah, the big dude.
I think in an interview he said Loki would have the biggest impact as far as multiverse and multiversal wars. So.
And that's why you've got this leading up to things like the What If series and Spider-Man and Eternals and Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Now you've got all those other things in between, but this is, I mean, all of that stuff is leading up to Multiverse of Madness. This is probably like the opening salvo, the shot that starts the chaos, and then Doctor Strange will be some sort of climax or some sort of defining event where whatever happens in that movie is going to set the universe either as a multiverse or a single universe. I would bet some money on that. They're going
to. So you're saying that this is our first step into a larger world?
I'm saying Mephisto confirmed for Doctor Strange. No, just kidding. I would like to see it. I think they have hinted at Mephisto. I think we will actually see him just because of just stuff that happened in WandaVision.
Just because of the fan outcry. The fans are saying, doggone it, we need to see him now.
It's easy enough to give them what they want, yeah. But also, I think that's why fans were saying that, is because they recognize the storyline. And the problem was, we're not there yet. Like, we haven't got to Mephisto's part of the story yet, but it's being led up to. And so I actually do think we'll probably see, I don't want to say in Doctor Strange, I don't want to be that guy, but I would actually hope so. I think but I think they've named other demons that are going to be a part of, but if you got other demons, why not? You know, that would be
why not?
Anyway, Loki. This past episode, in the middle, he discovered that apparently Lady Loki is hiding in apocalypses. And we got to have a little good old-fashioned fun.
That was an amazing scene.
I really liked it, too, because when they first got there, and Mobius is like, all right, we're going to start small. We're going to try for some small things. Do you know any bird calls? What? You know, like... And he just runs out, he's like, we're all going to die. You're going to die. Get a last meal because you're about to die. The volcano is about to erupt. I know because I'm from the future. We are from the future, aren't we? We are. I mean, it seems very future-y. And then there was apparently no change. So they apparently through that figured out that you can do whatever you want during an apocalypse. So it's safe there to hide and not be detected by the Time Variance Authority.
Speaking of Futury and the Time Variance Authority, has anyone else noticed that in the TVA, all the equipment that they use is like
analog?
Old.
Oh, we talked about this, like, I think, last episode
like,
when you weren't
like
here.
Tube TVs, and when he picked up to call the code 000, it was on a rotary phone.
Rotary.
Like, what is he doing?
Well, no, I love it.
Speed dial.
I think it makes perfect sense, and I think we must have talked about this when you weren't here because
maybe
I remember saying this because I loved it. In the first episode, I love the technology that they use there, that it's all analog, that it's all, because people think in the future, it's like, oh, you touch a glowing thing of light and like, da, da, da. And I'm just like, but what if the holo projector that's producing your screen breaks? There has to be a physical button or a backup lever or whatever. You rip the panel off and hard cross the wires. But guess what's easier than doing all that? Just having a full-on button press physical system, analog. Even the tape, when they show him his life, is on like film and on a projector. I think it's fantastic because it goes back to the analog of everything. And that's just, since they're like, are we from the future? They're kind of outside of time or around it, or however you want to.
Well, time is not the same there.
That's what I was trying to say.
And all their files are paper files.
Yeah. No,
Hard copy.
No computers. Nothing on computers.
And what is on the computer? I mean, Miss Minutes jumps into a computer. They have a computer, but like, how did that even work? You know? So
It's for training. It's training videos.
There is future stuff that like happens there, like their equipment. It's all like analog and stuff, but the equipment itself is super advanced. Like that robot that lasers his clothes, hold very still, like what does that machine do? Well, you walk through it, and if you're a robot, it disintegrates you from the inside out. The batons that just disintegrate people. So, which I think are still kind of ridiculous, but
hey, Grandmaster had something similar. He had his little...
turned him into a pile of goo.
It's not the melt stick. He lied to me. That's not a capital offense.
Why are you handing that to me? Oh my gosh.
Well, their sticks are a lot easier to carry around, considering what they had in the comics. The comics, they were these big cannon things that I'm not quite sure how they carried those around.
Maybe they're saving that for later episodes.
Mm.
I want to see some giant cannon things. I mean, come on.
Or maybe that'll be like a we're walking through the museum and this is what we used to have, and then we upgraded to these stick things. Same thing, but it's a lot lighter.
They walk past the DeLorean,
phone booth. Two phone booths. You got Bill and Ted's phone booth, and you got Doctor Who's.
That's a police box.
Oh, a police box. Okay. So, yeah.
Yes.
A hot tub.
Oh man, yeah. These are devices variants have used to muddle with the timeline. People thought they saw Peggy Carter in the background of the first episode. I mean, that's the kind of thing.
It was Agatha. Agatha all along. Mm-hmm. She found out about them in this episode, then time traveled back to the first episode. Getting so confused.
Sometimes I think people look too hard.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
To try and find, I mean, everybody does it. Everybody tries to find, little Easter eggs or references or whatnot. But sometimes people just look too hard and try to make
a mountain out of a molehill.
Yes, exactly. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it is Peggy. So
I don't think it's so Peggy. I don't think it's Agatha. I think that was just we're putting her in there for a funny line.
It was a boner alert.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even say it was a boner alert. That was it was just a.
Yeah, it's like,
there's a laugh.
How dare you have a brunette actress?
Yeah, right.
Ever in Marvel again? Now that you've had this one, and it's like, shoot. Oh no. Just like when they had the redhead seemingly from the back sitting with Loki. That was, now we know probably from the light shining on it, but it was just like, Black Widow? Is that Black Widow? It's like, it does passively look like her from behind, blurry in the back. It's just, maybe it's Bigfoot. Like, a large out of focus monster is coming this way.
I kind of wonder if that scene will be in episode 3 with him and her sitting wherever they are.
Who knows how much more time they're going to be spending together? It did seem like she left the door open for him.
Yes, because that door stayed way long.
And then it closed after he went through it pretty quickly. So it seems like she was inviting him along, which is interesting considering that they were fighting not long ago. But I think she was also doing that to kind of stall for time and to get him interested. Because during their fight, she kind of tells him that it's not about him. She's not even after. I think she even says she's not after like the Time Variance Authority. It's not. She has bigger aspirations than all that. But she doesn't explain much, and basically is just like, it's not. You're not a big deal. You're not superior Loki. And that intrigues him. He's like, who is this person who can also kick my butt? Because he gets his butt handed to him, and I was confused. Because A, doesn't have his power back. B, isn't he still Asgardian? Why was he getting so thoroughly trashed?
I was trying to remember, and I meant to look back, but I don't think that was ever one of his powers where he could, like, you know, he was strong like Thor. I don't think that was ever him.
I think all Asgardians were just on a...
Yeah, but
now that was something they said that was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but maybe it's not like that now because that's not canon.
But too, if you're dealing with Lady Loki, you've got to think she is Asgardian.
Yeah, but then she's also possessing those people, which are just...
Well, I mean, if you're going to possess the people, then I mean, even Loki said something about that. And he's like, it wasn't. He didn't call it possession.
He called it enchantment.
Yeah, kind of juvenile. Blah 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 blah. Well, if you're going to enchant somebody, yeah, you're going to transfer all of your powers over to that person.
Well, it even looked like body switching since the people's body kept slumping over like at a touch. It almost seems like, but then she was just standing around later. So I don't know. I don't claim to know exactly how all that works. But I just thought he would have at least been better matched against. I don't know. It looked like he got thoroughly trounced. So
Puny
maybe
God.
though he was just playing for time as well. That was a feint.
Yeah, puny God. You know what? We're not far off of 2012 Avengers. He did just get his butt handed to him. He may still be hurting.
I will say though, if he could take that from the Hulk, then clearly he's not a human with regular human endurance. Okay, so let's remember that. The Hulk picked him up and went bam, 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 and he was out of breath after that. So, yes, he does have superhuman physicality. It's in the movies.
Confirmed.
Yeah,
Endurance maybe, but I still don't remember ever seeing him strength-wise. You know, as
still then, if someone punched you in the jaw, even a regular person, it's nothing compared to the Hulk. All right. If a Hulk has punched you and you're still alive, you are above regular human endurance. And you're not wearing like a super suit or something, you know? Goodness. So I don't have like an official promo for the next episode, but I do have an unofficial promo for the next episode. It is basically someone made a trailer with most of the scenes from the other trailers that we haven't seen, that haven't been in the show yet. Did that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Sort of.
Yeah. So it's basically, and not entirely that, but they tried to use as many of the scenes we haven't seen yet from the trailers that have come out. So this will show us some of the things that we still have to look forward to. Let's watch it.
Glorious purpose.
I don't have to play this game. I'm a god.
You weren't born to be king, Loki. You were born to cause pain and suffering and death.
Come on. What did you expect? You picked up the Tesseract, breaking reality. I want you to help us fix it.
For nearly every living thing, choice breeds shame and uncertainty and regret. Yet the wrong path always taken.
Glorious.
Yeah, it looks like we've got a lot of action scenes coming up. Bless you.
Thank you. Let's cough. But thank you. I'll take it. We see that a couple times. There's meteors falling out of the sky on that purplish looking planet, which is also that looks to be the same place where that is, and we can see a meteor actually falling in the background just there. So
that was a scene from the first Thor movie where he let go of the
one
staff. Not that one. He lets go of the staff and falls in. It's right after this one, I think.
Oh well, that was him looking at his blue hand, but
yeah, right there.
Yeah, that's a scene from
the first.
And like I said, this is fan made. It's not guaranteed, but they used a bunch of scenes that we haven't actually seen so far. Most of them gotten from the other trailers that have come out. Like this, we haven't seen where that comes into play yet.
That was the scene from Endgame, or
yeah, the other one,
Infinity War,
Ragnarok, when he gets found out. So what do we have here? It looks like some sort of moon is breaking apart and falling down on this planet. And that might be where they are next, because he did just follow her, and as far as we can tell, that's where they meet up.
I was going to say it makes sense because he said she's been hiding in apocalypse level events.
Apocalypse. So yeah, it would make sense that she would go to
something that's dying, a planet that's on the verge of being wiped out or whatever.
An apocalypse, yeah, to chill out there until moving on to the next location, I guess. Yeah. Definitely, and then whatever that is.
I assume that's the timelines breaking up. The sacred timeline.
The sacred timeline, yeah.
That's what it looks like, because you got all those different strands.
Maybe.
Different realities, universes, and whatnot.
Yeah, and one of those scenes, it looks like he was in New York, and New York looked like it was totally decimated.
I know there was a scene near the end. Maybe not that far near the end.
Right there.
Right there. Actually, yeah, because that looks like the on the right there. It looked like the Stark Tower.
Yep.
Yeah, right here. Well, you can't. I'm pointing. Here, right here. Look here where I'm pointing. Idiot. Ah!
I think I know where you were pointing.
It's the tallest building on the right.
It could be that, yep.
I mean, that's what it looks like
It
to
does
me.
look like that, yeah.
It looks like, what would have happened if the, Chitauri had actually won.
Or if some other disaster had befallen.
Although I did see that all those buildings were decimated, but there was a telephone pole still standing.
Yeah. Sturdy.
I'll let you figure that one out.
Yep, over there to the right. Good eye. Looking forward to that. I want to see, because it looks like he has some more triumphant, or looks like to be triumphant moments coming up. And I don't know who those people are. But he kicked one.
I
And
don't
he
know.
just defenestrated that guy.
That was a good
And
line.
that. It's fenestrated?
No. Where he walked in the store at the end and he goes, whoosh, and she says, "What was that?" He said, "I dried myself off so my squeaky shoes don't give me away."
Like all of you.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if they're going to have like a deep conversation going on during that scene there where she's sitting there.
Hopefully we get some
Explanation as to what's going on.
of her motivations. And it looks like we'll get to see what's her name? Ravenkill? No, not
Ren
Slayer.
Slayer.
Ren Murderer. Yeah. Renslayer. It's like some sort of mine, and then a moon falls on it.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this last week. Interview with Tom Hiddleston, where he said episode 4 and 5, and I kind of wonder if that's where all these action scenes are going to come in, because he said that's where it really takes off, which you would hope so, because there's only 6 episodes. But
I'm kind of hoping that they didn't even give away any of that stuff in the previews. Like, hopefully a lot of that action stuff is partially because they have to hide an apocalypse level events, and then we'll get all kinds of fresh footage for the last episode or 2.
yeah, I'm kind of surprised they didn't put out a trailer. Although I never see the trailers when they put them out for the for the shows. You know, like for next week's show. Well, I guess for this week's show, like last week, I didn't see that anywhere on the internet.
See, we have Hulu. It's our TV streaming service, and that's obviously partnered with Disney. So whenever we catch one of their built-in ads, usually we see. I mean, it hasn't been uncommon for us to see a Loki spot come up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're TV spots, and they don't advertise them as trailers necessarily. I just sometimes find them, and sometimes that's what they're labeled as. I look up Loki TV spot for episode 3 and things like that. But like this week, I didn't really find one. This again was just something that a fan put together using all the clips or many of the clips that hadn't been shown in the.
And it could be they didn't have one this week, like John or like Dave said, that something big's going to happen, so they weren't going to.
And with like WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier, like they didn't have any previews with Sam in the Captain America outfit. That the first time you saw that was in the show.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have White Vision in any previews. Like the first time you saw that was in the show. So
and it always happened in the last episode too,
or last 2. Yeah, Vision. I think they did a preview in the episode before, but that's you didn't see it until then.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing that they're doing something like that here as well. Like there's going to be stuff that we haven't even. At least not in previews.
We'll get to the last episode and it'll all be new. Nothing will be
sweet.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
I really am.
Yeah, I hate it when they give everything away in the trailers. Of course, that's mostly in movies, but I don't like it when they do it for TV shows either. It's like, why do I bother watching it? You've already given everything away. So.
Yep, and I think so far they're doing a decent job at not doing that. I mean, that's what allows people to speculate wildly, is not knowing for sure what's going to happen.
Us knowing not for sure what happens is exactly why we have shows like this. So we can sit around and talk about what may or may not happen. and see if Mephisto's in it or not.
Right.
Which hopefully at some point will be yes. Probably not for like 2 or 3 years.
Well, at least not until next year. Doctor Strange.
We shall see. Any other thoughts on this episode of Loki or next episode?
No, I think I brought up the stuff that I had made notes on. So
other than it's 6 episodes long, we're 2 episodes in, so we're through Act 1. Now we're going into Act 2, where things will go bad for our heroes, so that they can resolve it in Act 3.
Is he a protagonist? Is he an antagonist? Let's just call him antagonist.
He's, you know what's so bad is that they even said something like that, and I don't remember who it was. I think it was when Mobius was in there talking to Renslayer, and he said something about he's just evil. He is. So one of the lines was he's just downright evil. He does nothing but mean things, and it's like, thank you. Somebody sees it.
I think she said that, and he goes that, or she goes, yeah, he's a villain. That's what he is. He's meant to like make the Avengers and things like that, but that's his purpose in the sacred timeline. That's what he is, and that's when Mobius goes. Actually, that was the picture that I had. That's when he goes, maybe he doesn't want to be that, or maybe he wants to mix it up, or
something about
Sometimes you get tired of playing the same part. So he thinks maybe Loki can be something else than what he was destined to be in the sacred timeline.
That's like those really good-looking girls that get together with the really mean guys and, I'm going to change him. No, you're not. No, you're not.
I know you like broken things, Mobius. That's what she said to him, too. It's like,
Yeah.
That's a dig on both you and Loki. And Loki has to sit outside. And what's interesting is Loki is, trying to play Mobius to see the timekeepers. He's always asking, is a meeting with the timekeepers in the cards? And Mobius is like, we'll see. Hey, we'll see. And he's never met the timekeepers. He's
never even met him. Yeah.
He's never. So he's playing Loki. Like, don't get that wrong at all. He is, and now Loki's escaped him. So, we'll see if they end up getting back.
For Mobius.
Well, also the TVA is like experiencing its own apocalyptic level scenario right now. So luckily they won't be able to spare a lot of time for him.
But you know what though? They're having they can hide anywhere now. It doesn't matter. Everything's going to the dogs.
We just set off so many apocalypses. Well, we know they're going to be going to anyone's where they're grenades that could they even stop them? I don't know. We're going to find out next week, or I guess in 2 days, what exactly the effects of those bombs going off really were. Because we know it's supposed to create multiverses, but how does that even work? Can't wait to find out, though. And hopefully we'll see more of Miss Minutes.
Tara Strong, by the way.
Yep.
Tara Strong, the voice, Miss Minutes.
Howdy, y'all. Welcome to the TVA. It's a dinosaur. I can't think of anything else. All right. I think that's it for today. I'm looking forward to Loki on Wednesday. And if you want to talk about it after that, you can meet us here next week at 9:30 Eastern, because that's what we do, is we talk about, for now, Loki, but we talk about the MCU. You know it. Anyway, we'll see you next week.